ready to rumble.
It is time for game number 2 from the largest and finest high school field house in the world, Newcastle High School, and the Raymond James Hall of Fame Classic on ISC and Comcast 81 as the defending 4A state champions in Noblesville against an East Central team under head coach Kevin Moore that has made deep runs in the tournament a regular thing from southeastern Indiana. Today's game on ISC and Comcast 81 presented in part by the Indy Card Exchange. The Indy Card Exchange is Indiana's home for vintage and modern sports cards. Alongside Mike Broughton, my name is Greg Rakestraw. Thank you so much for joining us. And Mike, obviously, Noblesville, every time they play this year, it's preceded by the defending 4A state champs. It's then followed by, but Ashlyn Shade left the program. You wouldn't know that by how Noblesville is playing. They've had a really good season 2/3 of the way through.
Yeah, I've watched them play a couple games, and Tipner a double really at 16 and 10. She's an excellent player just as a sophomore, and then they have Wilson at the guard, and at 5'8", she leads them in assists, and she also scores 13 a game. And so they have missed one player, Miss Shade, but you know what? They've moved on, and I think they have a shot, to go a long ways again this year.
Unfortunately, another player that is out for them, and they knew this would be the case going into the season, their post and Smitherman because of a leg injury, and that was a luxury they had at 6'4" a year ago that you don't have this year. They're smaller, they're quicker, but for those that don't remember, they were slated to bring back everybody. So literally 3 starters, 4 of your top 6 all returned from last year's state champion.
Yeah, sometimes from year to year, you better count your chickens before they hatch, because she won it last year. They had all this looking forward to all this coming, and then it just doesn't work out. And a lot of times with high school teams and injuries and people moving here and there, those things happen.
The losses for Noblesville, they lost to the number 1 team in 4A in South Bend, Washington by 21 at the Sneakers for Santa shootout in Brownsburg. They then lost to Fishers, whom they beat in the sectional final last year by 8. And those two teams, Hamilton Southeastern, who's 3rd in the state, Zionsville, who is 2nd in the state, all in the same sectional. Sectional 8 will have that championship game for you in ISC coming up the first Saturday in February.
Yeah, those are 4 of the best 5 teams in the state of Indiana, and 3 of them are going to be out come sectional time. I mean, they're hands above. I went to the Hamilton Southeast Fishers game. It was a 1-point game. just a couple weeks ago. Very good teams.
Our three officials, three of the best in the state of Indiana. Darren Haas in the middle of your screen. He is a Division I college football official and officiates high school basketball based out of Crawfordsville. Byron Davis, who we saw a couple of nights ago in the Cathedral Warren Central game. And then Aaron Selby on the right of your screen. Thanks to our three officials for being a part of today's game. Lineups now about to be introduced, and our starting lineups are presented by virtual announcer Aaron Pittman and virtual announcer. Make your game day experience the absolute best by hiring Aaron, and if he can't be there, he'll be your virtual announcer, and that's for any sport, not just hoops. Find out more and just how affordable it can be at Virtual Announce on social or by calling Aaron at 317-800-0612. You mentioned Meredith Tipner, the sophomore. She has now kind of become the offensive focal point at 16 points and just shy of 10 rebounds a game. 3 assists, 3 steals a contest as well. Reagan Wilson, a 5'8 junior, 13 points, 3.5 boards, 3.5 assists, 3 steals a contest. Caitlin Shoemaker, a 5'5 senior, 9 points, 2.5 rebounds a game. Danny Mendez, a talented yet undersized post for this Noblesville squad at 5'10", 7.5 points and 5 rebounds a game. And Brooklyn Ely, a 5'5 senior, 2 points a contest. One thing with this Noblesville squad, like we talked about with Bedford North Lawrence and Mishawaka Marion earlier, they're not going to go really deep into their bench. They'll play 7, maybe 8 at the most for Donna Buckley's team today.
Yeah, they're young, but they also have experience, and there's something to be said about playing on a state championship team. Every place you go, you feel comfortable, whereas some other teams don't. And
again, all 5 of these players played a prominent role last year. Really kind of 5 of their 8-player rotation in terms of the starting lineup for Noblesville. Noblesville, because of where they play a phenomenal schedule. When you play in the Hoosier Crossroads Conference, when you're in the Indianapolis area, it's not hard to find great games. But to their credit, they've also added Homestead, South Bend, Washington. They played a neutral site game against Oakton of Virginia earlier this year. They went and played at Bedford North Lawrence last week and beat them by 10. If they get a victory in this game, they'll get a rematch with B&L coming up in our championship game. Now, let's tell you about the team from East Central. And first of all, start with their head coach and Kevin Moore. Kevin, 232 and 93 in his 14th year. And East Central is unique. They're by far the largest school in their area. They're the only 4A school in the Eastern Indiana Athletic Conference. So what they have done is they'll try to play the best teams they can play from Cincinnati. They play in events like this. They got a good win against Jennings County earlier this year by 13. They're going to play Mount Notre Dame of Ohio next week, who has been a perennial power in every girls' sport for many years.
Well, Coach Moore knows. He was the assistant all-star coach last year, and he knows that if he's going to compete in the state tournament past the regional level, he's got to go play those people. And East Central has a quality program, and they've been sectional champions. In fact, they've been sectional champions the last 2 years in 4A, and they've traveled the farthest distance to play their sectional games. It's almost 2 hours one way just to play a sectional. It's kind of unfair, but it's kind of where they're at.
It's just the system. There is nobody else 4A around them. Really, the closest 4A school would be Jennings County, or if you went north, would be Richmond. And both those schools are on their schedule. They're starting 5, Josie Trable, potential Indiana All-Star, 6-foot senior, 22 points a contest. Then you've got Lainey Baker, Caitlin Dick, Emily Clem, and Addie Arnold rounding out the starting 5 for this East Central team. They do have a game against Bedford North Lawrence. They don't play them in the championship game tonight. They will play them in the regular season. And they have played in the regional round the last couple of years. They would not see each other till the semi-state because of the change in format between the regional and the semi-state this year.
Well, here's the game in a nutshell. It's the 1-3-1 half-court trap, and East Central's going to have to beat it by passing the ball, and they've had a turnover already.
And Noblesville uses their speed and quickness, that is for sure.
If you watch on TV, Coach Buckley loves the 1-3-1 half-court trap, the various looks, and East Central has trouble handling the basketball at 14 turnovers a game.
Spot up 3 by Ely in the corner is good. Brooklyn Ely already above her points per game average on the season. That's a very good sign. The step through reverse layup, got it. Early basket for Laney Baker.
Good job by Coach Moore having Trable at 6'1", looking over the 1-3-1 to make the easy pass.
And that will be steps, traveling called against Noblesville.
Noblesville, they're fired up with this trap. That gets them going. They kind of live on this trap. Last year they won the state with this 1-3-1. They stay in it. Coach Buckley stays in it about 90% of the time. It's interesting, East Central's got Trable, their biggest player, to look over the trap, which I think is a good idea.
Ball deflected, they say last touch by East Central. Off the hands of Emily Clem.
That's 2 turnovers by East Central, and I think going into this game, since I've seen them both play, that's the key to the game if they can handle the basketball.
This is the second tournament that East Central's been a part of so far.